All right, ladies and gentlemen, Algebra 2, we've got Unit 1 test review today. Unit 1 test review, and here we go. We're just going to go right through it, starting with question number 1 here. We're going to go through each one. Let's solve this equation. Negative 4x plus 7 equals negative 17. You see I already started drawing my line here to separate the two sides of the equation. So this side equals that side. Now to solve for x, we're going to have to undo these things, and we're going to have to minus 7 first. Okay, so when I minus 7, this positive 7 plus 7, positive 7 minus 7 zeroes out. So it's gone. All I have on this side is this negative 4x. Over here, negative 17 minus 7 would be negative 24. So negative 4x equals negative 24. And now just divide by negative 4. It's going to be 6. There you go, x is 6. Now the best thing about solving these equations like this, you can put the 6 back in and it should work out. So like negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. Negative 24 plus 7 is negative 17. So this is right. Okay, that's what you want to do. You want to check them afterwards. What about number 2? Tell you what, I'm going to write it over here, make it a little bigger. 8x plus 37 equals 3x plus 5. Okay, there we go. Here's my equals right here that separates the two sides. So that tells me that this side here is equal to that side there. Well, to solve for x, we need to get our x's together. And so like this x here, let's minus 3 x's off both sides. And that makes this go away there. Now what do I have here? Well, 8 x's minus 3 x's would be 5 x's. And I still have this plus 37. And it equals over here now just 5 because this is gone. So when I minus the 3x, this will be gone. All I have is the 5. When I minus 3x there, I got 5x. And now this is just like the first problem where I'm just going to minus 37. And this will go away. 37 minus 37 is 0. So all I have is the 5x here. 5 minus 37 would be negative 32. Okay, and then there you go. 5x equals negative 32. I divide by 5. Both sides. This will cancel off. And x is going to equal negative 32 divided by 5, which will be negative 6.4. And there you go. There's my answer. Now, you can plug this in afterwards and check it. All right? So here's my calculator. So I'm going to put negative 6.4 over here on this side. All right, so I'm going to do 8. Oh, let me clear my calculator off. I've got 8 times negative 6.4 and then plus 37. All right, on this side I get negative 14.2. I should get the same thing over here. So let's do 3 times negative 6.4 and then plus 5. And look at there, I get negative 14.2 on that side too. So that tells me my answer is correct. All right. Now, let's go to this number 3. If 6y minus 7 equals 17, then what's the value of 3y? Okay, well, you know, if you're going to tell us what 3y is, well, you first have to tell us what y is. So let's solve this equation and figure out what y is. So we'll do that now. So here's my equals. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Okay. All right, so this go away. Negative 7 plus 7 zeros out. I got 6y equals, over here 17 plus 7 is 24. Okay, now divide both sides by 6. That'll cancel out, so y equals, and then right here 24 divided by 6 is 4. Y equals 4. Let's write it over here. Y is 4. Now we check it, make sure 6 times 4 is 24 minus 7 is 17. So this is right. Okay, but that's not my answer. That is not the answer. It says, what's 3y? So since y is 4, I got to do 3 times 4, which is 12. 12 is my answer. That's my answer right there. Okay, 12. Okay, let's go to number 4 here. Number 4, we got us a little word problem. Okay, in this problem, it says that A video store charges a monthly membership fee of $5.50, and the charge to rent each movie is only $1.50 per movie. Another store has no membership fee, but man, they charge $2.50 to rent the movies. How many movies need to be rented each month for the total fees to be the same from each company? All right, so let's just say the first one, we'll call the first one A. What does it cost to rent a movie there? Well, it's going to be $5.50 plus it's going to be $1.50 times however many movies you have, which is X. That's what the cost is at the A place, whatever the A company is. All right, what about the B company? What does it cost to rent a movie there? Well, at the B company, it doesn't have any membership. See, there's no membership fee. So it doesn't cost any membership fee like A does, but it costs $2.50 for each movie there. So it's $2.50 times X. Now the question is, how many movies do you rent for these two costs to be the same? So basically, I'm just going to take these two and set them equal. So $5.50 plus $1.50X should equal $2.50X, like this right here. And then here's my equals right there. I'm just going to solve this equation. Now in this one, since 250x over here has no number, it's going to be easier for me to subtract the 150x on both sides and then have my variable over here on the right this time. It's like right here, 150x minus 150x, I'd left my x off. That's going to zero out, and all I have is 550. Okay. So now over here, when I subtract this, 250 minus 150 would be just 1x. So x is 5, it's just 1x, and it's 550, so that's the answer right there. So 5.5. So you'd have to rent 5.5 movies, but you can't rent a half one, but that's what would make them even. Okay, so there you go. Now here's another solve one. Solve this right here. Okay, let's bring another paper in here. We'll write that down. So I've got 4, and I got x minus 3 in parentheses, plus 2x equals 6, and I got x minus 2. Okay, let's solve this equation. All right? Well, I'm going to distribute for both of these. So like 4 times x would be 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Plus 2x equals, over here, I distribute. So 6 times x is 6x, and then 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So see, I distribute here. 4 times both of those is this. And I distribute here. 6 times both of those is this. Okay? Now, when I do this, the parentheses are gone, and I've got like terms now. So 4x plus 2x would be 6x. And I got minus 12. Over here, I got 6x minus 12. Now, right here, if you're quick-eyed, you notice I got the same exact thing on both sides. So what that tells me here is x can be anything. X can be anything because these are the same. But if you don't catch that, you say, well, hey, I want to get all my x's over here on this side. I subtract 6 x's to make this go away. Well, they go away over here too. So when your x's delete out like that, you look at what's left. What's left here is a negative 12. What's left here is negative 12. That's the same. The same value on each side, which means every number is a solution. So all numbers are solutions. Every number I put in there is going to work. No matter what x value I choose, it's going to work. So this is all numbers are solutions. Now, if this had come up different, like suppose up here this negative 12 was actually a negative 14 or something, okay, then they would be different. Then that means there would be no solution. So what happens on this, when your x's zero out like they did here on this one and the x's are gone, you look at what's left. If what's left is the same, then it's all numbers. But if what's left is different, that means there's no solution. So there's two different cases you could have here. All right? So when your x's zero out like this did, your x's zero out, you look at what's left. If what's left is the same, like this problem here, all numbers are solutions. But if what's left is what is different, like I just made this to look, that means there's no solution. Okay? All right. Let's go to number 6 here. Number 6. All right, now this is supposed to be 6 over 5 times x is greater than 30. Okay, so solve this. All right, so first thing I see, this is a fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5 to make the 5's cancel out. See, when I multiply by 5, I divide by 5, they just cancel each other out. So I have 6x greater than, in 30 times 5 is 150. Now look here, I left this negative off. That's supposed to be negative 6/5 x. All right, so that's a negative 6 right here. Okay, so I left the negative off. Okay, now I divide both sides by negative 6 to make the negative 6's cancel. And that leaves me just an x here. Over here when I divide, that's going to be, was that 25? Negative 25? But here's the thing, I divided by a negative. And when you divide by negative, it flips your inequality the opposite way. So it's going to be x is less than negative 25. X is less than negative 25. Let me explain this to you. Look here. Suppose I have two numbers. 2 is less than 5. Okay, 2 is less than 5, right? All right, suppose I add 3 to both sides. Okay, now I've got 2 plus 3, I've got 5. Well, here I've got 5 plus 3, which is 8. It's still less than. All right, so I can add, and it stays less than. Look here, I'm going to subtract. Let's subtract 2 here, let's subtract 2 there. 5 minus 2 is 3, 8 minus 2 is 6. It's still less than. So I can subtract, and it stays less than. Okay, let's multiply. Let's multiply by 4 here on both sides. When I multiply both sides by 4, 4 times 3 is 12, 6 times 4 is 24. Look, it's still the same. So I can multiply, and it stays the same. Okay, now, let's take 12 is less than 24. Let's divide both sides by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 24 divided by 3 is 8. It's still less than. So I can divide. So I can add, subtract, multiply, divide. It stays less than. But look here. Let's move it over here. 4 is less than 8. Let's divide both of these by negative 2. See, 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. And look, it's not less than now. It's greater than. This is greater than negative 4. Negative 2 is greater than negative 4. So see, when you divide by negative, all right, when you divide by a negative, or if you multiply by a negative, it changes your inequality. So you got to remember these two things right here. So that's what we did on this problem here, see? On this problem here, when I divide by this negative, it changes my greater than to less than now. It changes it. So that's one rule you have to watch on less thans and greater thans. If you divide by a negative, or if you multiply by a negative, it changes your inequality the other way. Okay, so that would be my answer there for that one. Okay, let's go to this next one. Graph this inequality. All right, I'm going to write it down here. I've got 4x plus 7 is less than negative 5, or 4x is greater than 12. So we're going to graph this on the number line. So like right here, this is an inequality. We're just going to treat it like it's an equals. I'm going to minus 7 both sides, and 7 minus 7 goes away. So 4x is less than negative 12. Okay, now I'm going to divide both sides by 4. X is less than negative 3. There you go, there's that one. Or, on this one here now, I just got to divide. Divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 will cancel. X is greater than 3. And there's my two inequalities. So x is either less than this number or it's greater than that number. So I'm gonna graph that on the number line. All right, so here's 0, here's -3, and here's +3. It's just a coincidence they came out to be the same number like that, but opposites. But so right here, x is less than -3. I'm going to circle -3, and less than goes this direction, like this. Okay. X is greater than 3. I'm going to circle 3, and then greater than goes this way, like this. And there you go. That's what the graph would look like. Now, there's one exception here, or one addition to this, rather, if that had equal to line. If that had equal to line, you know what that does? That makes me color this one in. Okay, so I'd have to color that one in. If it's equal, I would color it in. And if that had equal to, I would color this one in. Okay, so that's what we got. That's what we have there when we graph the inequality. All right, here's one more. Solve this inequality. Okay, now I don't think it's set to graph it. It doesn't say graph it, so we're not going to worry about graphing it. We might graph it, I don't know. We got 7x minus 5x in parentheses plus 3 greater than or equal to, and that's a -29, I think. Okay, let's solve this. So like right here, we got this to distribute. See this minus in front? We're going to have to distribute this minus through this parentheses. So I got the 7x. That's going to mean I've got a minus 5x, and it turns this plus 3 into a minus 3. Okay, so that's what happens when I distribute this minus. It makes the 5x negative and makes the 3 negative. Okay, now here's like terms. So 7x minus 5x would be 2x. Okay. And now I just treat this like an equation here. There's my plus. I'm going to have to plus 3 here to make this minus 3 go away. So it gives me 2x greater than or equal to -26. Now notice I have not divided by a negative or nothing, so it stays the same. I can add, subtract, multiply, divide, and it stays the same every time. And look here, I'm going to divide by 2. And so it stays the same because I divided by 2. I can divide, but if I divide by a negative, it changes it. And then right here, see, this number is negative, but I'm not dividing by negative, so it's going to be -13. So that'd be my answer right there. Now, just suppose I did graph it. Here's 0, here's -13. I would circle it. Greater than goes this way, so my arrow would go like that, and I'd have to color this in. Okay, so that's what the graph would look like. All right, that's number 8. Now, we'll go to number 9. Number 9 says, find the slope in this graph. All right, slope is rise over run. So you just got to pick 2 points. Here's 2 points right here. So remember, slope is rise over run. So if I pick this point right here, usually it's easier if you start with the leftmost point. This point sees further to the left than that point. So if I start here, do I go up or do I go down to get to that point? Well, I got to go up. How much? 1, 2. 1, 2. So my slope is going to be +2 for my rise. And then my run, once I go up 2, I've got to go over how much? 1, 2. I got to go over 3. That's my run, and there's my slope. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, at number 10 here, it says find the slope of this line right there. All right, we got 3x plus 4y equals 12. Now, what most teachers teach you, solve for y to get it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to minus 3x on both sides. So 3x minus 3x will go away. So I have 4y equals, and I usually put the x numbers first, so -3x and then plus 12. They don't go together because they're different. This 12 don't have an x, and that does, so they got to stay separated. Okay, so I get rid of the x's, bring it over here, and now I got to divide by 4. So I divide by 4 on both sides, which makes this cancel. So y equals, Over here, I divide both of these by 4. So negative 3 divided by 4, well, it's just negative 3 over 4, x. 12 divided by 4 would be a 3. And so here's my equation right there in slope-intercept form. This is called slope-intercept because right there's my slope and right there's my y-intercept. It's called slope-intercept form, and there's my slope, and that's what it's asking. Find the slope. The slope is negative 3/4. That's the slope. Okay. Number 11. We're just moving right on through here. Okay. And number 11 says, given the following 2 points, find the slope. All right, remember now, slope is going to be the y in point 2 minus the y in point 1 over the x in point 2 minus the x in point 1. This is how you find slope using the slope formula. So all I do is I just take these values and put them in for x and y here. So that means on this one, my slope, the y in point 2 is right there too. Now there's a parenthesis missing, 2 minus the y in point 1 was 4. All right, on the bottom, the x in point 2, well, the x over here in point 2 is 6 minus the x over here in point 1, negative 3, so I'm going to put in parentheses so I don't get the negative mixed up. All right, so 2 minus 4 on top is 2. On the bottom, 6 minus negative 3 is 9. And there you go. There's my slope, 2 over 9. Okay. Number 12 here says, write the equation of the line given this slope right here. M is slope every time. See, M is always slope. M is always slope. So the slope is 2/3, and it goes to this point here, 0, 5. All right, so we're going to write this slope of the line in slope-intercept form. And now look here. This is something to know here. See, this is 0, 5. And see how my x is 0? Okay, now this is what you remember now. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. And right there, x equals 0, so there's my y-intercept. So there's really no work involved at all here. My equation is going to be y equals 2/3 times x, and there's my y-intercept, so plus 5. And there's the equation of the line here. Okay, since that was a 0, 5, 0 is my x, that tells me that 5 is the y-intercept. So there you go. Now, if this was something different, I would have to plug it in and figure out what the y-intercept is, but that's not what this is, so you've got it easy on that one. Let's go to 13 here. This says write the equation of this line. Okay, now look how it crosses right here at 3. See there? It crosses at 3. That tells me why my y-intercept is 3. See how it crosses the y-axis at 3? So my y-intercept is 3. Now, what's the slope? The slope, well, we just figured out the slope here on previous question up here. We found the slope doing this. Well, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to find the slope. And look here now, when I start here at this point, let's find another point. Now look right here. It goes to that point there. All right, now, so if I start here, remember, we start the furthest to the left. I would have to start here. Well, do I go up or do I go down to get to that point? Well, on this one, I got to go down. How many? Oh, I go down 1, 2. Looks like I go down 2. So my slope is going to be negative 2 from a rise. Okay, now once I go down 2, how much over do I go? Well, it looks like I go over 1. So my slope is down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, which is just negative 2. So there's my slope right there. There's my y-intercept, and that's the 2 things I need from my equation line. Remember, you got to have slope and an intercept. So it's going to be y equals negative 2x plus 3. And there's the equation of the line right there. Okay. All right, we're about halfway here. Let's go to 14. 14 says, draw a line with an x-intercept of 4 and a y-intercept of 2. All right, this is simple. This is really simple. The x-intercept is 4, which means it crosses the x-axis at 4 right there. This is the x-axis, see? So it crosses right there at 4. Now, it has a y-intercept of 2, which means on the y-axis, it crosses at 2. All right, so it's got to go through those 2 points. So It's going to be a line that looks like this. There you go. How easy was that, huh? Pretty easy. All right, look at 15 here. 15 says, graph the two lines on the same graph here. All right, we got this one and this one. All right, on this one, all right, now you got to be able to recognize this is slope-intercept, because there's my slope right there, and there's my intercept right there. Okay, so this is slope-intercept. So on this one, the intercept being -1, right there, it crosses the y-axis at -1. And then the slope is -3, which means since my slope is -3, that's -3 over 1, which means it goes down 3 and it goes over to the right 1. So down 3 over 1 right there. See, it goes down 3 over 1. So there's where that point would be. So here's this line right here. Okay. Now about this one. All right, now this one is what you call standard form. We got our x's, and then we got our y's, then we got a plain number over there. All right, when it's in standard form, what you can do to make it real easy is like, if you let y be 0, what would x be? See, if I put 0 for y right there, 3 times 0 would be 0, that would go away. So I have 2x equals 6. See it? 2x equals 6. Well, that means x would be 3. So there's a point right there using the, since the y is 0, that's the x-intercept. Now let's let x be 0. What's the y-intercept? Well, if I put 0 for x right here, 2 times 0 would be 0. That would go away. All right. So that would go away. So now I have -3y equals 6, which means if I divide both sides by -3, y would be -2. And there's my 2 points. So I just plot those 2 points. So 3, 0 is right here. 0, -2 is right there. And here's what this line looks like. Okay, and there you go. We got 16 here. Given x equals this, and 4x minus 5y equals this, what's the value of y? Okay. All right. So let's write that down here. X equals 2y plus 3. 4x minus 5y equals 9. Oh, now here's the key. X equals this right here. So I'm going to put this in for x down there. That'll help me solve, because see, this has 2 variables, this has 2 variables. But if I put this in for x down here, I'll have 1 variable. So I'm going to write it like this. 4 times x minus 5y equals 9. And right there where x is, I'm going to put this 2y plus 3 in. Okay, and now I can solve this. So I distribute. So 4 times 2y is 8y. 4 times 3 would be 12. Minus 5y equals 9. Okay, now I got like terms right here. 8y minus 5y would be 3y plus 12 equals 9. And I can minus 12. 3y equals -3, and then divide by 3. And there you go, y equals -1. And that's what it asks for. It says, what's the value of y? See that? So we just, -1. That's what y is. Okay. What about 17? At the local pet store, zebrafish cost $2.60. And neon tetras cost $1.55. All right, so if Maggie bought 12 fish for a total cost of $23.85, not including tax, how many of each type of fish did she buy? Okay, so here's what you got then. We got zebrafish and we got neon tetras. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Z and N for my variables here. Okay, Z is how many zebrafish she bought. N is how many neon tetras she bought. Okay, well, Z plus N has to equal 12 because she bought 12 fish. So however many zebras she bought plus however many neons she bought, that's going to be 12. Okay, so there's one equation. Now another equation comes with the money. See, the zebra fish costs $2.60, so $2.60 times Z plus, and the neons are $1.55, so $1.55 times N, that should equal $23.85. And there you go, that's my system of equations right there. And so I'm going to solve this system. All right, so let's just continue on down here, okay? Now, I think the best way to solve this would just be, since I have these variables up here, I think if I subtract the n on both sides, that will go away, and then it gives me z equals 12 minus n. And I can do the same thing I just did on the previous problem. See here, on this previous problem, where does that work I did for that one? Okay. Here it is. See, on this previous problem, I put this in for x down here, and then I solve for that variable. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here on this. If I minus this n, I get z equals 12 minus n, and I'm going to substitute this for z in this other equation. So that means I got this, 260 times z plus 155 times n equals 23.85. And then we'll put 12 minus n right there. Okay, so that's the substitution method, just like we did in the previous problem. Okay. All right, so I'm going to distribute here. So 2.60 times 12 is 31.2. 260 times negative n is negative 260n plus 1.55n equals 23.85. Okay, now, like terms right there. All right, so we got negative 260 plus 155. All right, so I got 31.2. This stays in there. I'm going to put these like terms together. Negative 260 plus 1.55. I get negative 1.05 n. Okay. Now, there's my n right there. See this number? Let's get rid of it. 31.2 minus 31.2 goes away. So I got negative 1.05 n equals, and let's minus this, so 23.85 minus 31.2 gives me negative 7.35. Okay, now there you go, just divide both sides by negative 1.05. This will cancel, negative 1.05 divided by negative 1.05 cancels, and I have n equals, and when I divide there, I get 7. And there you go, n is 7. So that tells me 7 neon tetras. That's how many neon tetras she bought, 7. And look here, 12 minus 7 is 5. That means she bought 5 zebras. 5 zebrafish. Okay, there you go. There's my solution. That's how many she bought. She bought 7 neon tetras and 5 zebrafish. Okay. Now, actually, one more thing on this. I think I had them out of order here because, see here, zebra was first, and then the tetras, neon tetras, were second. So my answer should have been 5 zebras first, and then 7 neon tetras second, because this one was listed first, so that one should be first in my answer, and then that one would be second. Okay, that's kind of important. All right, on the last page it is, about to get there. Solve this system of equations. I'm right over here. 5x minus 4y equals 14. X minus 2y equals negative 2. Okay, I'm going to solve this system of equations here. Now what I can do is I can add 2y to both sides, and I have x equals -2 plus 2y. I can do the same thing I just did on the previous problem. What I think might be better though is if I multiplied this by 5, this whole equation here, to where it matches this one, then I can subtract them and make the x's eliminate. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to come over here. Now this top one, I'm going to leave it. 5x minus 4y equals 14. Okay, this bottom one, though, 5 times all these, so 5 times x is 5x. 5 times -2y is -10y. 5 times -2 is -10. Okay, and now see how these match? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this equation from the top one. All right, so I'm going to do 5x minus 5x, which eliminates. Now do -4y. Now you got to be careful here because these are negatives. So we're going to do -4y minus -10y. Well, -4 minus -10 would be like -4 plus 10, which is 6. 6y. And now 14 minus -10 would be 24. And then divide by 6, and then y equals 4. And there's what y is. Y is 4. Okay, now all I do is I go back to one of these equations here and I plug 4 in for y. So what if I do this top one right here? I've got 5x minus 4 times 4. I'm putting 4 in for y right there because it's what we found y to be. So it means 5x, if I multiply that, it'd be minus 16 equals 14. And so I'll add 16 to both sides to make this go away. 5x equals 30, and then divide by 5. And x is 6. And there's my two answers right there. So 6, 4 would be my answer here. Okay, the x value goes first, and the y is second. So there's my answer there for that. Okay. Okay. Let's go to 19 here. 19 says simplify this. 3, and they got 4a to the 0 power. All right, now here's the thing. A to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is just 4 times 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So this is actually just 3 times 4. So this is just 3 times 4, because 4 times 1, see this is 1, is 4. So the answer is 12. 12 is my answer. Okay. What about 20 here? Number 20. We got 3h to the 5 power, k to the 4 power, and that is all squared. Okay, now when you have a square outside the parentheses here, that means everything inside here is squared. So that means my 3 is squared, my h to the 5th is squared, my k to the 4th is squared. Everything in here is squared. Now 3 squared, well, that's 9. H to the 5th squared. Now here's these rules we've talked about before. Now let me move this over. When you have, look here, h to the 5 times h to the 2 versus h to the 5 to the 2. Okay, make sure you know the difference here in these two. H to the 5 times h to the 2 is h to the 7. You just add those. This would be h to the 10. So this is h to the 10 is what that is. And right here, this would be k to the 8. There's my answer right there. Okay. 21. Okay, on 21 here, let's give me a piece of paper. We got m to the 4, n to the 3 divided by m squared n 5. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be like, because you got all this thing divided by all that thing. Now when you divide, like here, these are like terms, you subtract exponents. Like you're here, 4 minus 2, that'd be m2. Right here on these, when you subtract 3 minus 5, it'd be -2. But we don't usually like negative exponents, so this being negative is going to send that down to the denominator, which means I'll have m2, and this n being negative will go to the denominator to turn it positive. And so there's what my answer would be. And it kind of makes sense. If you look here, see there's 2 more ends in the bottom than is the top. So these 3, see, would cancel off 3 of those and make it a 2. So that's where it ends up, in the bottom. So that's how it works. Okay, now on this one here, 22, we're going to add these like terms here. So this is a plus. Okay, so this goes with this. So 5c squared plus 1c, 5 plus 1 be 6c squared. These two right here go together. -7 plus -9 is -16c. And then these constants go together. So 6 plus -7 is -1. And there's my answer right there. Okay, now right here, look, we're subtracting these. Let me write it down over here. 3a minus 7, 6a minus 4. Right, when we have subtraction like this, we do not want to subtract. We change it to add. So that means I'm going to distribute my minus through here. So it makes this -6a, and it makes that a +4. And then I'll add it. Okay, so I want to distribute that minus through here and then add. So like 3a plus -6a be -3a, -7 plus 4 be -3, and there's my answer right there. Okay, we're almost done here. Find this right here. We got 4m squared times 3m to the 4th power minus m. So we want to distribute this to multiply here. So when I multiply these two here, 4 times 3 would be 12, and I got m squared times m to the 4th. This is when I add them, m6. Okay, 2 plus 4 would be 6. Now do this one right here. 4 times -1 be -4. M squared times m, that's 1. I add those, m3. And there'll be my answer there on that one. Okay, and then this is the last one here now. Find the product of this. We got x minus 4 times x plus 8. Okay, you could do FOIL method, or I like the box. So in my box, okay, I'm going to do x minus 4 on top. I'm going to do x plus 8 on the side. So right here, x times x is x squared. On this one, -4 times x is -4x. Right here, 8 times x is 8x. And right here, 8 times -4 is -32. And then on these right there, there's my like terms. So I got x squared. When I add my like terms here, -4 plus 8 would be a +4. And then I got this -32. And there's what my answer would be for that. Oops, wasn't on the screen the whole time. I'm sorry, wasn't paying attention. So again, my x squared, these two are like terms. So -4 plus 8 is +4. And then I got the -32. Okay, and that's it, man. So this is our Unit 1 test review. So if you have any questions about it, you just give me a buzz and I'll help you all I can, all right? So you have a great rest of the day. Adios.